Thank you, and thanks for everybody for coming. Did you know that we have 65,000 thoughts in a day, and most of them are negative? Day after day after day on autopilot, repeating the same negative thought patterns. Did you also know that you think you're actually running the show of your life, but you're not? From in utero to about 7 years old, we're in what's called theta brainwave, the same brainwave that allows us to get into hypnosis. And the challenge, or the problem with being essentially hypnotized, is that we have no critical thinking skills yet. So we don't identify our experiences as good or bad. We just accept the programming. And the longer we continue to accept that programming, the longer our life becomes a series of what I call now data collection. And data collection can be a real problem when you come from a family like mine. I come from a long line of crazy. And I don't mean straitjacket kind of crazy, although, looking back, I think that could have applied. Should have applied. I mean the kind of crazy that falls under the label of dysfunctional. And it's labeled that way because as humans, we like to assign meaning to everything so we can make some sense of it. And making things mean stuff is both our downfall and our saving grace. I've experienced both. So today, I'd like to share with you some of my 54 years of data collection. To inspire you, to tell you that you're not alone, to give you hope, and to show you living proof in the end, no matter what your circumstances right now, or the program you got downloaded onto you, ultimately, you have all the power to be, do, or have anything you want. Because as David Nagel says, our greatest power lies in our ability to choose. Lisa, I'm drinking your water. Yeah. Age 4. I can hear him yelling at her out on the porch. I'm playing in the kitchen because I don't actually think I go to school yet. You fucking cunt, he yells. I don't even know what those words mean, but I can feel the venom in the words that my grandpa spits out all over my grandma. Data collection. Data collection. He's so mean to her, but it's weird. I don't remember a time when he was ever that mean to me. Am I safe? Am I okay? Age 8. I'm in the back seat with my little brother, and my mom's driving. Well, we're actually stopped at the corner of the street, kind of spying on our house. She's sitting there, kind of freaking out and crying, swearing, and having a fit that he's cheated on her. I can feel her pain. It's triggering my own. I start crying and yelling at her. She reaches back and backhands me. Stop crying! Data collection. It's all about her. I'm not as invisible when I cry. Yikes! I was not ready for that slap. Don't share your feelings too loud. Age 10. Grandma's fled to our house, hiding out, so to speak, as he's threatened to kill her once again. She's in my room upstairs, so I'm sleeping in the spare room in the basement with a steak knife under my pillow, just in case I need to take care of business. What the hell? Am I ordering steak takeout in the middle of the night? Programming. As I'm lying there, about 10 feet away from the door, boom! The frickin' door literally gets kicked in and flies off the hinges. I fly out of bed and stand there clinging to the steak knife. My raging lunatic grandpa, he seems not to see me as he runs past me, standing there and heads up the stairs. There's a lot of commotion going on upstairs. I don't know how long went by till the police arrived. I don't know how long I stood there with that knife. My heart's pounding as I speak these words to you. I only know that when I went upstairs, the police had my grandpa up against the fridge in handcuffs, and they took him away. Data collection. I don't even know what the hell's really going on. I never told anyone I had that knife. I never cried. Too vulnerable. Being vulnerable makes you weak and can put you in danger. I'm relieved it's over. Relieved to have the knife back under my pillow. I have to get to sleep. I have school in the morning. No one even asked me if I was okay. Age 13. Well, we haven't heard from Grandpa in a while, and Grandma has her own place now, and she seems pretty happy. Mom says she's worried about Grandpa, as Grandma refuses to see him. Mom and I head off to Grandpa's house. We get there, and my mom runs up to the door. It's unlocked, which is weird, because Grandpa always keeps his doors locked. She tells me to stay put, don't come inside. Wait right here. It's like she has some sixth sense something's wrong. I could literally feel there was something wrong. I knew something was wrong. The kind of wrong that should make you order up a straitjacket with a big old side of crazy. 2 minutes later, she emerges like a crazy woman, flailing around, going right past me standing there. She was in shock, screaming and stomping her feet. At this moment, I feel invisible, terrified at her reaction, and frozen. But I don't cry. My dad, my younger brother Dennis, an ambulance, and the police arrive. I can hear her talking. He blew his head off with a shotgun. Blood and brains were splattered all over the kitchen and the ceiling. All that was left was his face. That's what my mom saved me from seeing that day. Data collection. Crying still doesn't help. He must have really loved her to go that crazy. Is this how all relationships should be? Nobody ever asked me if I was okay. Age 27-ish. Of course, by now, given my crazy past, I've been married and divorced. But one of my saving graces was my last lesson. And by lesson, I mean a husband who was a drug-addicted bodybuilder, who introduced me to the amazing world of bodybuilding. And although I call it the muscle and fiction industry now, getting physically strong in the gym saved my life. I found such power in being able to shape my body the way I wanted to. I went to battle on that gym floor and fought some pretty crazy demons with dumbbells and barbells. Data collection. Being powerful in your body can translate to being powerful in your mind. Nutrition is the foundation for everything. Even though on the outside you look amazing to others, if you haven't done the deep down, dirty internal work, you can still think you're not worthy. And even though you might look like $1 million to others, you can be super unhealthy on the inside and hormonally a fucking mess. When you look good, nobody ever asks if you're okay. Age 39. I'm on a date and my phone rings. I see it's my dad. I ignore it. It rings and rings and rings and rings again. Something's wrong. I can feel it. I've learned to trust my own internal GPS by now, my gut. I answer my phone. Dennis is dead. Your brother's dead, yells this panicked voice on the other end of the line. What the fuck? Instant end of my date. This dude was saved from my 3-strike rule, which had become an essential escape route in my dating life. I remember his name was Ilya. That couldn't have been good. In my panic, I drive straight to the gas station and bought a pack of smokes. I haven't bought a pack of smokes in years. Notice how I said bought a pack of smokes? It's amazing how you can go right back into a habit, a coping mechanism you used to use if you're not consciously aware what you're doing in that moment. I was just like a zombie as I drove to get smokes. It truly was not how I was living my life. I thought, shit, what if my clients see me? I get to my parents' house, and it's a weird, eerie feeling. It's not like all the other drama and traumatic events that have happened to me in that house and to my family. This one is of disbelief and utter shock. It's not the natural order of things in this world for kids to die before their parents, let alone get murdered. I was never the same after that day. Dennis was murdered by the Penticton police, hog-tied, and face down in the dirt. When your only brother, your baby brother, dies, it's like you have to redefine your place in the world. I was devastated. I sobbed on the floor of my old bedroom in the fetal position for hours and hours. You know, that body-shaking, ugly cry that leaves you in puddles and just a snotty mess. The kind of cry when your eyes swell up and it's hard to even see, let alone breathe. The kind of crying that scares the shit out of you because you think you're never going to stop. I thought I was never going to stop. The circumstances were fishy. The police didn't have a straight answer, and neither did the emergency room. It stank of a boys' club cover-up. So I decided I would take care of business. Insert 4-year-old subconscious programming. But this time, instead of a knife, it was me and my Harley who would be taking care of business. Yes. With no straight answers, I needed to know what happened. My parents needed to know what happened. So I jumped on my motorcycle like a badass, along with someone I call my sister. She's not really blood related, but if you teach someone how to put in a tampon, they're your sister. We burned up to Penticton, the scene of the crime. Oh, and just so you know, by badass, I mean the kind of badass that's chewing bright pink bubble gum, blows a giant bubble on the highway, and it gets ripped out of her mouth by the wind kind of badass. And that was a damn good piece of gum. So I interview everyone and anyone who will talk to me. The hospital, the ambulance drivers, the firemen, people who were at the scene, and anyone who saw him die. Data collection. Who am I now? I didn't ask for this life. Everyone has a different story, a truth, their truth. I need the actual fucking truth. I need the universal truth. The funny thing about the truth is, it'll set you free, but first it'll really piss you off, to the point you think you're definitely not okay. Age 45. I had just won the Masters Try Fitness Challenge and was feeling super proud of myself. Flying down the highway, tunes cranked, basking in the glory of me. My Jeep phone rings and interrupts my song. I see that it's my dad. Ugh. I have that sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach. The one I've learned to trust and recognize. I answer. He has that raspy, whiskey voice I recognize, the kind of voice that sends shivers down my spine. It's the voice he gets when some serious shit has gone sideways. I've heard it too many times in my life, and I know this conversation's not going to be pleasant, mostly for him. He tells me he and Mom had a serious fight. He was a drunken asshole, and she left him for the umpteenth time. This scenario is nothing new to me. The pattern has been repeated my entire life. Over the years, since Dennis died, I've learned to stand in my truth, though, put up boundaries, and honor what acceptable behavior is. We spoke for a short while. I consoled him. I told him he needed to go to counseling, stop drinking, and truly get some help for the gazillionth time. I love you, I said. We can talk tomorrow when I'm home. I hung up. The next afternoon, I get a phone call. My mom's crying and yelling. He did it. He freaking did it. He hung himself. Rage consumes me. Data collection. You're not really an adult until your dad dies. Maybe I'm not surprised. I learned that anger is just sadness's bodyguard. I'm sad. I feel abandoned. What if I'd said more? What if I hadn't hung up? This moment is all we have. 70-odd years of suppressing shame may make you off yourself. My life's really fucking crazy. It made me crazy at times. I know now why I married versions of my dad and my grandpa. Programming. I know now why I abuse my body with exercise and dieting. Is it all just data collection? Will I ever be okay? Age 54. I'm in a healthier relationship now with John. 10 years and going strong. He bypassed my baseball rules, my 3 strikes. I'm sometimes surprised he even tried after my nephew at a family dinner early in our relationship told him in no uncertain terms to not start liking our family too much or get too close to anyone because my Auntie Cindy doesn't keep guys around very long. And I piped up, you got 3 months or 3 strikes. And we've been diligently working our shit out, navigating our childhoods and healing our wounds and our programming. I'm now working as a really great transformation coach. I help people to see through their own bullshit, their limiting beliefs, and their own crazy stories so they can be the very best versions of themselves. Data creation. Data creation. I have a bigger purpose. It was never my fault. There's always a universal truth. The universal truth is Dennis was 100% responsible for his life. If you live by the sword, chances are you're probably going to die by the sword. No matter what happens, I'm 100% responsible for me. That's terrifying and liberating at the same time. Be present. That's all we have. Now, and right frickin' now. A good cry might make you less invisible, but it can also release. And it's the most amazing healing gift you can give yourself, and it seriously is the most badass thing you can do. Feel your frickin' feelings. You can become a counselor, like me, to save and guide the world, but you can't save or guide anyone until you save yourself. Dad, you were right. You can't save people that don't want to be saved or guided, but damn, it sure feels good when they do. Beliefs are just perceptions. It's a filter, a lens that I was given and conditioned to see and evaluate through by someone else. It's not the truth. Your beliefs are just because you practiced what someone else gave you over and over again. They're not actually your beliefs or true, which is the most amazing, awesome thing. You can practice new ones. I don't, and you don't, have to use those filters or lenses or beliefs our parents gave us. We're such powerful beings. We don't even know our own power. And man, look the fuck out when you start to realize that you actually have all the power. Data creation. I'm only 100% responsible for me and my actions. My dad was 100% responsible for his. I'm thankful and grateful for all the lessons my dad taught me without even knowing he did. Even though you might think my stories are full of tragedy and heartache, they're also full of resilience, love, adaptability, bravery, courage, and this amazing gift called life. Yes, hearts get broken, but your soul gets set free. You learn. I've learned. I've learned to love myself more for who I really am and who I really want to become. I decided I'm worth it. I hope you decide that you are too. I can keep thinking 65,000 negative thoughts a day and laying down the patterns to keep thinking and attracting all that negative into my life. Or I can exercise my free will, my choice, and do the work to figure out my shit. The science nerd in me wants to let you know that there's something called Hebb's law, and it says that neurons that fire together wire together. So all those 65,000 negative thoughts repeated day in and day out are literally wiring your brain to keep repeating those 65,000 negative thought patterns day in and day out. But Hebb's law also says, and I say, you actually have a choice. You can lay down new pathways and establish new neural connections so you can convert those 65,000 negative thoughts into 65,000 positive thoughts. It's up to you. All the lessons I learned as a kid were so valuable. What's changed is how I perceive them. They didn't break me. They fucking made me. My own data creation has taught me to put on my armor of truth and ride into battle, knowing who to take with me and who to leave behind. It's taught me to actively seek out those souls who've gone before me and the peaceful warriors doing the work as well. It's taught me I'm a better human for having experienced everything I have. I have more compassion and empathy and understanding for others, and mostly myself. Because everything that's happening is happening between your ears, right here. You get to choose the meaning it means in your life. You get to choose whether it's data collection or data creation. It's hard. It's freaking hard. But it's so worth it. Oh, and by the way, I'm so fucking okay.